Well, look, I have been here before where we narrowly missed out, so I'm not taking anything for granted. We're really keeping everything crossed that we will get across the line. But it's just one step at a time, but really, as I say, hoping that we can get those votes in and declare victory for the Liberals in Corangamite, because it's been a very sorry time for people here in Geelong with the terrible loss of jobs and the incompetence and dysfunction of Labor. So I think many people are really welcoming a fresh start under an Abbott government.
Well, you are both admirably prudent and cautious early stage of the evening candidates. I wish you a long and happy evening. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Annabelle.
We're broadcasting live from the ABC Election Centre, where we're joined by ABC Local Radio, News Radio and ABC Online. And continuing the tally room tradition, a strong crowd of engaged citizens here to celebrate or perhaps later drown their sorrows. In the studios of ABC News 24, Tony Jones will be talking with senior members of the major parties as the count unfolds. He's with Labor's Health Minister, Tanya Plibersek, and Liberal frontbench Senator Conchetta Fierravanti-Wells.
Yeah, thanks, Kerry. And Connie, let's start with you. Now, one of your party heavyweights, Michael Kroger, 4:39 p.m, called the election. That's how confident he is. How are you feeling?
Well, I think I'll wait till some of the votes start coming in, Tony.
Michael's jumped the gun, has he?
I think he has probably jumped the gun very enthusiastically, but I think we'll wait for some of the results to start coming through.
He's often running on exit polls. The first exit poll by Newspoll has Labor losing 21 seats. The coalition overall winning 25 for 97 seats in the House of Reps. Is that what you're aiming at this point?
Look, at this stage, there's no figure in the sense that we've run a tough campaign. We always said it was going to be like climbing Mount Everest. I've spent the last 7 or 8 days of this campaign basically on pre-poll booths around Western Sydney and on the Central Coast. And I think the clear message there to me was that the electorate is very much fed up. It's fed up with the dysfunction, the chaos that's been the last 6 years. And I guess Tony's message that do you want another 3 years like the last 6 years has really resonated. And I guess one story encapsulates it for me, and it was at a pre-poll booth in Werriwa. And it was an 80-year-old lady who came up and took a Liberal how to vote and told me that she'd been a Labor voter since she was 21 years of age. So she'd voted for Labor for 59 years, and she said, I've had enough. I am not voting for the Labor Party this time. Took our how to votes, went to vote, and basically that was her story. And I know that that story has been repeated right around, certainly in Western Sydney, repeatedly. And that's really the message, I think, of this election. People are sick and tired of the last 6 years, and they certainly don't want another 3 years of it.
Let's go to Tanya Plibersek. What's it like coming to the end of a long, gruelling campaign and knowing that the main issue for you at the end of it is the scale of the defeat you're facing?
Well, we've still got a few hours to go in West Australia, so I'm not going to, just like colleague Connie's not claiming victory yet, I'm not conceding defeat yet. But it has been a tough campaign. We certainly went in as underdogs. I think it's been very difficult to make up ground during the campaign.
Has it been a poorly run campaign?
Oh, no, I'm not saying that at all. But one of the things that Connie and her friends keep talking about is chaos and dysfunction. And I think my enduring memory of the last 3 years will be of Tony Abbott saying no to absolutely everything. Like, we had a Liberal leader of the opposition who said no to small business tax cuts, something that you would think would be an article of faith for the Liberal Party.
He could be saying yes to a very big mandate by the end of this evening. Will you give it to him? Will you accept, if he wins by a landslide, that he actually has a mandate for all his policies?
Let's just see how the evening goes. I think we'll be here for a few hours and we'll see the results as they come.
We will be. Now, Labor will be scouring the electoral map tonight, searching for any bright spots. Do you think you'll find any?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of seats that we might pick up. We've run some very strong candidates. The candidate in Solomon in the Northern Territory, Luke Gosling, I think has run a fantastic campaign, and that's a very close seat. You were just talking to Fiona McNamara, and she's a marvellous candidate. She's really run a terrific campaign.
You're saying you might have a hope of picking up Solomon?
Well,
are you thinking like that? Is the campaign team thinking like that?
Yeah, I live in hope.
What about Western Sydney? It's critical, obviously, for this election campaign, and we've got McMahon, for example, where the Treasurer, Chris Bowen, is battling really for his survival. Any news, any early news from the scrutineers?
Look, I think there's some very close seats in Western Sydney. There's obviously some that we're quite concerned about. It's incredible to think that in this environment where Tony Abbott believes he's marching to victory, that they had so many of the coalition candidates in hiding in Western Sydney. They think they're going to just slide in with minimal scrutiny, and including Jamie Diaz, who I don't know whether he's allowed to go to his own celebration tonight if he should win, because he's been in hiding through the rest of the campaign.
I better get Connie Vandy Wells to come in on that. I mean, are you hiding away some of these lesser-known candidates?
He was certainly out and about when I was in Greenway last week. No, I don't think that's the case. Look, anyone can have a difficult moment. We've all been in politics a long time, and so we have good interviews and we have bad interviews. It was an unfortunate circumstance that happened with James, but as the Prime Minister said himself, afterwards, it can happen to anyone. Even Tony said it can happen to anyone. And certainly James has been out there campaigning. He was certainly out there with me. And look, in the end, the message was basically, whether it's James Diaz or any other candidate in Western Sydney or all over Australia, and that is our message of 3 years of dysfunction and chaos, and the reality is...
Okay, all right, we're back in the campaign at the moment, and here we are on